Watergate remains one of the biggest political scandals in U.S. history. To this day, global political scandals are given names with a "gate" suffix in reference to the cover-up that forever changed American politics and political reporting. It was a dramatic series of events that began with the arrest of 5 men for breaking into the Watergate office complex in Washington, D.C., and ended with the resignation of President Richard Nixon. This is the story of Watergate. On the night of June 17, 1972, in the parking garage of the Watergate complex, security guard Frank Wills twice discovered a piece of tape on the latch of a basement door, stopping it from locking. He called the police at 1:47 a.m. to report a break-in. Police arrived at the scene to discover 5 men hiding behind desks in the ransacked offices of the Democratic National Committee, or DNC. The men wore suits, surgical gloves, and were in the possession of large sums of money, cameras, and wiretapping equipment. Hours later, Washington Post journalist Bob Woodward was dispatched to the court arraignment of the 5 men. When the lead burglar, James McCord, told the judge he had previously worked for the CIA, Woodward knew he had a major story on his hands.
I don't think that what happened in the 1972 campaign is ordinary in any sense of the word. There's always been some chicanery in American politics. You're always going to have some underhanded dealings. Nothing comparable to this. What happened here is an incumbent administration set out to manipulate the internal politics of the opposition.
Woodward, along with fellow Washington Post reporter Carl Bernstein, immediately sprang into action to investigate the break-in and attempted bugging of DNC headquarters. The vital information they uncovered included revelations that White House consultant E. Howard Hunt and former FBI agent G. Gordon Liddy had been involved in the planning of the burglary. Liddy had also been employed by the Committee to Re-elect the President, or CREEP, which would be revealed to have provided illegally laundered campaign contributions to finance the break-in. Woodward and Bernstein's most important anonymous source was Deep Throat, whose secret identity was concealed for 33 years. It was finally revealed to be William Mark Felt Sr., Deputy Director of the FBI in the early 1970s. The White House, meanwhile, denied any connection to the burglary, and Nixon was re-elected president in November 1972. 2 months later, the conspiracy began to publicly unravel in the press as Liddy and McCord were convicted of conspiracy, burglary, and wiretapping. Then, in late April 1973, White House staffers H.R. Haldeman, John Ehrlichman, and Attorney General Richard Kleindienst resigned over the scandal, while White House counsel John Dean was fired. By the time the Watergate Senate hearings commenced in May to investigate the break-in, the scandal was being covered daily by most major newspapers and TV stations. As the Senate Select Committee on Presidential Campaign Activities commenced its hearings, it became apparent that CREEP had engaged in a wide range of illegal spying and sabotage activities against President Nixon's opponents to help Nixon win re-election. Hunt and Liddy were also revealed to be part of a White House Special Investigative Unit, nicknamed the Plumbers, because of their orders to fix leaks in Nixon's administration. The most critical testimony came from John Dean, who became the first White House official to claim that Nixon had direct involvement with Watergate and the subsequent cover-up.
I began by telling the president that there was a cancer growing on the presidency, and if the cancer was not removed, the president himself would be killed by it.
Investigators also discovered that Nixon had a secret recording system that taped all his conversations in the Oval Office. While Nixon initially refused to hand the tapes over, the Supreme Court intervened, and on August 5th, he was forced to release transcripts of the recordings. These proved beyond doubt that Nixon had participated in the Watergate cover-up. Convinced that he would be tried and impeached, Nixon announced his resignation from office 3 days later.
I have never been a quitter. To leave office before my term is completed is abhorrent to every instinct in my body. But as president, I must put the interests of America first.
Vice President Gerald Ford was sworn in as his successor and, on September 8th, pardoned Nixon for all crimes he had committed as president. Another 69 government officials were still charged in relation to the Watergate conspiracy, with 48 being found guilty. More damagingly, the crime caused the American public to lose faith in its government, as it showed for the first time the extent to which the presidency could abuse its power, undermine its opponents, and obstruct justice.
If you like this video, you can find it and so many more at clickview.net. Sign up for free today.